Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 26 of Big Brother 24's overnight feed recaps, and welcome to Cliff Notes. A good Monday morning to y'all. All right, I kind of expected last night to be a slow night in terms of important strategic conversations, and for most of the evening it was. And then at the very end of the night, when everyone should be in bed, we have a conversation that could change a lot about what I was thinking was going to happen with the rest of this week going forward. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about some of the other conversations and events that happened as well. So first of all, just as a little bit of a refresher of what's going on in the house, Monty is the HOH, Alyssa and Indy are on the block, but Michael and Daniel, Kyle and Daniel won veto. And the thinking is that they're going to use that veto to pull Alyssa and Indy off the block, put up Taylor and Nicole. Some people think Taylor's going to go home, but the actual target is Nicole to send her out the house. That's the plan, at least going into the beginning of last night. Things may have changed a little bit. Just when you think things are getting a little predictable, people change it up inside the Big Brother house. So there you go. Today is the veto ceremony. It's going to be a huge ceremony all of a sudden. See just what happens, and then we'll have a lot more understanding about what's going to happen the rest of the week going forward. All right, so let's pick up the feeds right after the TV episode is ending that we had last night. Not a live episode, but after the episode's ending, and we see what's going on with the feeds. Well, first of all, today is Michael's birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. I think he's turning 29 years old. At least the cake said 29, so I assume he's turning 29. So Big Brother left cake mix, ice cream sandwiches, some beer and wine, so these house guests can have a little bit of a celebration for Michael. We've got Taylor actually making the cake with some assistance from Brittany. I wonder if Nicole was a little chap that she wasn't asked to make the cake. She may have been fine if they're using cake mix and all. But anyway, Brittany and Taylor are making the cake. Later, they kind of ice it, decorate it again with the number 29 made out of M&M. So they're all into that. All right, conversation-wise, we've got Nicole and Turner talking. Nicole's talking about how right Turner was, as it turns out, to get out of Mira, and that Nicole, she was just voting with the house. That she would have flipped if she knew the rest of the house was going to go ahead and vote out Amira instead. Nicole is really starting a campaign ahead of the veto ceremony with the assumption that she's going to be on the block. So she's doing what she can. At one point, Turner, I can't remember who he's talked to, he said she hadn't talked game to me in the whole season. So now that she's suddenly talking game to me, yeah. Turner's seeing through what she's doing. But Nicole's starting to campaign a little bit, talking to Turner about that, telling Turner that she'll never put him up. Well, there's a very good possibility you'll never put him up because you may not have the opportunity, given that you're talked about as the primary target this week. But she's saying, you know me, I'll never put you up, Turner. You're good with me. All right, we've got Daniel and Kyle talking a little bit. Daniel is saying that he and Nicole are getting tagged as a duo, which they are, and that Kyle is getting labeled a showmance with Alyssa. Not yet, but give it time. We'll see. And so Daniel's proposing an alliance of the four of them. So Nicole and Daniel, Kyle and Alyssa work together going forward. He says not really an alliance. We won't call it that, but a working relationship. So he's trying to put together a new alliance. But earlier he also talked to Alyssa and proposed this same group of four. But he had also added in Indy and Jasmine as well to have an alliance of, was that 6 people or so? So Daniel's certainly trying to build a new coalition, realizing that, again, he's looked at the numbers and he realizes that this other side has some numbers that he's trying to overcome. All right, we've got Kyle talking to Taylor, telling Taylor that Daniel thinks that Monty and Joseph are the masterminds of this house. And Kyle reiterates that a couple more times to different people throughout the evening, that basically Daniel has just assumed that Monty and Joseph are running everything. That, yeah, they've got these other people that voted with them last week, but they're not really in charge. It's all Monty and Joseph. They're just bringing people in as necessary. So not really an alliance, but more so just 2 guys running it and manipulating and finagling everyone else to do what they want. That's Daniel's thinking, according to Kyle. But Kyle is also talking about Nicole and her doing her campaigning. He said, yeah, Nicole's taking the tack. She's just blaming everything on Amira at this point and saying she had nothing to do with anything. Well, we know it's a little more than that, but I understand the strategy. All right. Bug time. Ants have fully invaded the kitchen. I mean, horrifically invaded the kitchen. They're trying to kill him with Windex. I guess that works a little bit, but ants are everywhere. In addition to the ants, Kyle also discovered later in the evening a big old bug. A bug, but he discovered a bug in his underwear. Not the underwear that he was wearing, underwear that was being folded by him and Alyssa. So he found this bug and he's chasing Alyssa and Indy and other people around with it and everything, having a little fun. So all kinds of insects taking part in the Big Brother experience this week. All right, we've got Alyssa in the kitchen with the majority of the house. So they're not really talking game, but I thought it was interesting. Alyssa mentions, barely here, but she mentions that Big Brother asked them to have a bumper pool tournament later this evening. They never ask us to do any special activity while we're in the house. So I don't know if is this season, does Big Brother just consider them a little more boring, or more likely, there was mention that Terrence talked about the bumper pool in his eviction speech last week. So maybe they want some more content for that. Or I don't know. Maybe Big Brother just wants to see these people all together in a room and get some shots. But anyway, so they're going to have a bumper pool tournament later in the evening. Nicole is cooking slop for Jasmine and Turner. So Jasmine's found someone to help her out with the slop. And then we get the bumper pool tournament underway. It's hard to say, bumper pool tournament. We get the bumper pool tournament underway. Everyone's a little extra animation just because they know the cameras are watching and asking them to do this and everything. So everyone's animated, doing all kinds of commentary and everything else. And the winners of the bumper pool tournament are Kyle and Alyssa. Yeah, congratulations. That won't do anything to make people thinking less about the potential of showman's wealth. But nah. So they've won the bumper pool tournament, and everyone's happy and cheering them on. All right, we've got Brittany and Taylor and Kyle in the backyard. Taylor, all right, now think this is interesting. Taylor is saying that her speech on Thursday is going to be brutal. She's saying everyone better be prepared for this HOH. Get your sleep and be ready, because my eviction speech on Thursday, she said, after Daniel hears it, he is going to be looking for blood. He's going to be hot. He's going to be gunning for this HOH. So y'all better be ready. So I guess Taylor's planning to just go all out, going after Nicole and Daniel while she has a chance at this eviction speech. That could be interesting. That could make for another interesting live eviction episode. That'd be a lot of fun, actually. All right, but she's talking about that. Brittany and Kyle are both talking about how often Daniel and Nicole are suddenly talking to him. They never barely talked to him at all before. Now suddenly they're best friends and they're talking to him all the time. Yeah, they're trying to do what they can to put a new group together and survive the week. Kyle's thinking that the other side just doesn't have much of a chance winning HOH going forward. He's talking about the fact that, theoretically, especially if Nicole goes home, that, yeah, maybe Daniel could win something. But he's saying Indy, Alyssa, Jasmine, they aren't going to be winning a whole lot of HOHs going forward. So Kyle's thinking not only do they have the numbers, but they should have a decent chance of keeping a lot of power in the house, either through HOHs or winning vetoes or some combination of the above. So they're feeling pretty good about their position. Don't get too cocky. Don't get too arrogant. We got a lot of Big Brother to play, guys. All right, later we've got Michael and Joseph joining in. They're talking about who in this leftover group is vulnerable, how to deflect the other side from them. Joseph saying, look, Brittany and Michael, y'all are vulnerable because if someone puts y'all up, it's two of our alliance that is on the block together. And Joseph saying, if need be, I'll create some trouble, some conflict. I'll get them all focused on me, get mad at me, and see if we can't pull them away from you and you, Brittany, you, Michael. I'll do what I need to do to make sure the target's somewhere that we can control. And so here's the thing. Joseph really seems to be more and more the ringleader of this group, really throwing out a lot of ideas, laying out who needs to talk to who and alternatives and options. It just seems like Joseph's kind of taking control of what's going on, and certainly people are willing to let him. But yeah, I did notice that. All right, we've got dinner as prepared by Nicole, I believe, followed by an intense checkers match between Monty and Joseph with all kinds of British commentary provided by both and everything. Not a lot going in the house right now, as you can figure out. All right, we got Brittany and Taylor again decorating the cake in the storage room. Brittany was talking to Taylor, kind of just a heart-to-heart, saying, look, I know how hard it must have been for you in the first few weeks in this house, and I'm sorry I didn't step in and do more at the time. And I was so worried about my game. And Taylor saying, no, I understand. And yeah, I didn't realize, it was hard, but I didn't realize how bad it was until later. So they're just talking about last few weeks, but it does seem like there's a little bit of bonding going on with these two. And later that they're out in the hammock talking some more. I think these two are really are gravitating towards each other. All right, we've got the group in the back, non-game talk, just a bunch of them in the back area talking about all the concerts as they've seen over the years. Finally, about midnight or so, well, right at midnight, they celebrate Michael's birthday, and they recreate, for those of you who aren't aware, back in season 10, on August 1st, same date as Michael's birthday, Keisha back in season 10 had her birthday. They had a huge blow-up argument right before they did the birthday. So when they sang happy birthday that season, it was a very monotone, sad sounding happy birthday. They got done. No one said a word. No one clapped. No one cheered until finally, I think it was Libra on that cast who said, anyone want cake? And it was kind of it's just very awkward moment. So Michael, being the super fan that he is, remembers that event. So he asked everyone if they can recreate it. So when they sing happy birthday, they sing it sad and like they're just feeling horrible in the world, and they'll not sing that. And then Taylor's the one that says, anyone want cake? And then they cheer and applaud that they recreated the moment. First time it happened back in season 10, a little bit more effective. But hey, I give you an A for effort. E for effort? I don't know. Anyway, so they got that. All right. More talk about house secrets in there. Kyle's denying that he has a business. Terrence saying that his cousin was Juice WRLD. Now, I haven't listened to Juice WRLD's music, but I guess Juice WRLD was, I think he passed a while back, but was a rapper, I guess. So Terrence is talking about that. Jasmine's talking more about her nail business. Nicole, again, saying that she's got this big, dark secret that she can't say on cameras to everyone. She'll say it later in lockdown. I'm not sure. She's already told some people. But anyway, there's talk about what everyone feared as they entered the house. Brittany talking about having problems finding friends, being an introvert. People saying they were afraid they'd be considered fat or lazy when they came in the house, or that people wouldn't understand their jokes, their sense of humor. Just lots of things about thinking about what it's like to be in that house. Now, here's a little fun. Indy was talking about Big Brother and all that. She's saying it's not as much fun as she thought. She wants Big Brother to change the rules. She says that instead of them voting at each other out every week, that's too much stress. Instead, America at the end should just pick the winner of everyone who's in the house. Everyone gets to stay in the house and just enjoy and have fun in the house all summer long. No pressure or anything else. Then in the end, America will just vote on someone to get the big prize. Yeah, not sure that's exactly what what us viewers want from Big Brother Indy. I think it may be more similar to the way it happens down in Brazil. I don't think the house votes each other out. I think viewers actually call in every week and vote someone out. So Indy's looking more for the Big Brother format of Brazil, it sounds like. All right. Late night conversation in the car bedroom between Alyssa and Kyle. Extended conversation, it seems like. A little bit of laying on the bed together, which, Kyle, it's not a good place to be having your conversations in this situation, I don't think. But a little bit of touching, a little bit of back rubbing and touching of ears, and a whole lot of flirting in terms of conversation and everything else. So Alyssa's still making the effort. Kyle's still kind of resisting, but not as much as maybe he should be. All right, we've got Monty and Joseph and Michael and Taylor and Brittany. So a lot of the leftovers. They're still upstairs, kind of waiting for the rest of the folks to filter out. So eventually we've got those 5 left. There's some game talk about going forward. What happens to the surviving block person? Do they break up that trio, or do they pick someone else? Trying to figure out what's going on. Taylor's saying that if Nicole and her go up, Nicole goes home, that she might pick Terrence. If she has to pick a dual partner out of the existing trio, that she may pick Terrence. And I know Taylor's thinking that insulates her from anything else that happens. If the two of them go on the block, they'll send Terrence out, protect Nicole. That's her thing. It's got to be her thinking. But she's talking about that. Brittany is starting to question, say, hey, look, should we maybe consider getting out Alyssa this week? Does that protect us? Does that insulate us just a little bit more? And here you go, guys. This is the conversation. Now, what time? 4:30 in the morning or so. I mean, it's late. But all of a sudden, the talk is starting to shift to, hey, Nicole's our target. We want Nicole out to, does it make more game sense to maybe go get out Alyssa instead? Big conversation to ensue on that. Now, here it is in nuts and bolts. The thing is, everyone's saying, look, we want Nicole gone. On a purely personal level, we want Nicole out the door. No one wants her on jury. Everyone wants her gone. But there is a major concern that if this duo twist continues, that there could be issues with Monty and Joseph not having protection if they were put on the block. Brittany and Michael don't have protection if they're put on the block. So they're trying to figure out a way where they can keep that from happening. Hence the conversations coming up. A little bit later, Turner comes in and they start explaining to him why Alyssa might be a better choice to go home. And let me try again. If Nicole goes home, then you got two duos potentially they're exposed. Say Nicole goes home. Taylor picks Terrence as her duo partner. So now she's insulated. But now you've got Monty and Joseph, who are both in the alliance, as one duo. You've got Brittany and Michael, who are both in the alliance, in another duo. If the other side of the house, say Daniel won HOH, he could put up one of those two duos, and even if someone won the veto, pull them off. You still have, say, Brittany and Michael, and the alliance is going to be forced to send out one of their own. So by having two groups of two people that both don't have the insulation within it, they're worried that because of that, it could lead to them losing one of their numbers. So that's the current situation. They're thinking that the other option, if they sent Alyssa home instead, that means Indy has to pick someone, they think has to pick someone from this existing duo to work with. And they would try to get Indy to pick Monty or Joseph. So that way Monty or whoever's with Indy has an insulation of Indy. The other person would be with Terrence. They could vote out Terrence instead. So if they send out Alyssa, you only have one duo, and that's Brittany and Michael, who don't have protection if they end up on the block at the end of the week. So that's the thinking, is that it helps protect their alliance for another week just a little bit later. So now you're balancing this idea of strategy versus a personal decision that they all want Nicole out the door. So that's a discussion that takes place late night in the middle of the night. All right, now Brittany is also talking about the fact, she's saying, but look, if we do that, remember Brittany's the one who suggested, but now Brittany's saying, but if we do that, we're potentially leaving Nicole in the house. And we know that Nicole wants to target this group, that she will come after people in this group if she gets a chance. And she's a good competitor. And do we really want to take that chance with that? So Monty at that point says, look, I want to talk to Kyle before the veto meeting. We got to talk to him about it. We're not going to make this decision without everyone having input and say, especially if we're talking about sending out Alyssa, we need to talk to Kyle, right? Yeah, good idea. So they want to talk to Kyle, but they're having a hard time getting Kyle separated from Alyssa. She's still with them, hanging around everywhere he's going. So eventually they send Michael down to break them up. Alyssa and Kyle end up going in the backyard. Michael goes out in the backyard as well, is hanging out in the hammock with the two of them. I'm sure Alyssa really appreciated that. So Michael's kind of breaking up the little potential showmance flirting relationship, and everyone upstairs is watching and say it's like a TV show that we're controlling. Eventually, Alyssa says goodnight. Kyle heads upstairs. They explain it to him. Kyle here's this new plan. Now he's got some worries. He's worried that because he's already promised Alyssa and Indy that he's going to use a veto on him. If he doesn't use a veto, all the anger is going to be directed at him. So he's a little bit worried about that. Monty's saying that he thinks Monty's saying he thinks that it's going to actually help the group's relationship with Daniel and Nicole, that if they send out Alyssa, they may be able to milk it along a little bit longer, hide the fact that this alliance lasts and all that. I'm not sure. But from a personal standpoint, they may be getting a little too fancy with their planning. I think it seems like the easy target this week is just send a strong person out the door like Nicole. Leave Daniel floundering a bit. He really won't have any connections to rely upon after that point. You make Alyssa and Indy feel so much better about everything else that's going on. That's what I'm thinking, but we'll see. So with that, the evening ends. Yeah, they call it a night. They go to bed. As far as I know, no decision's been made. Monty, Kyle, I think Monty and Joseph primarily in some combination are talking about potentially talking to Indy and Alyssa and Daniel and Nicole and get their thoughts and see what's going on. So no decision's been made, which means it's going to be a very interesting, very exciting veto ceremony this morning. And I'm waiting. I'm going to be watching to see what happens. So guys, there you have it. Kind of a boring night until the very end, and then it got exciting, as sometimes happens. So today we've got the veto ceremony. By tomorrow morning, we should have a much better feel on who's going to head out the door. But there's going to be some hurt feelings and some surprise people, I think, no matter what happens. So I'll be here tomorrow morning to talk about that as well. Guys, y'all have a fantastic morning. Until then, cheers, my friends. SKD 143